Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of LA Rams Central. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Eric.
And we're back for another show. This is going to be the prediction show at this point. We'll do a recap on Wednesday, and then you guys won't see me until not this Saturday, obviously, coming up, but the following Saturday. Eric, I think, is still thinking on what he's going to do. So, without further ado, Eric, it would really be nice if we could actually pick a Thursday night game for once.
Yeah, no kidding. It seems like every time we pick a Thursday, it goes the opposite way. Like, when we picked the Dolphins over the Ravens, it's because the Ravens have been playing like crap.
Yeah.
But then when the Bills have been playing great, and we're like, oh, we'll take the Bills over the Jets. What do the Jets do? They blitz the Bills.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively.
No kidding. Yeah, I think I've gotten one Thursday night game this year, and I think you're 0 for Thursday at this point.
I think I might be.
The reality is, as far as I'm concerned on this game, it's an in-state rival. It's a division rival. I didn't expect it to be a blowout in Buffalo's favor, but I just thought Buffalo had the better team. But, the Jets, they dominated from the moment the gun sounded until the game was over, and they just absolutely, like you said, they blitzed the Bills. I mean, the Jets just they did the old-fashioned take them behind the woodshed and give them an old-fashioned beatdown. And I don't know if the Bills are going to come out of this thing okay. There seems to be a blueprint that the New York Jets displayed on national television for all to follow, Eric.
Yeah, the Jets got 5 sacks in the first half against the Bills, and the Bills looked out of sync basically from the get-go. As soon as they got the ball, actually within the 10-yard line of their own 10, and then they dropped Tyrod Taylor. Actually, let me take it back. The Bills had their ball on the 20, and Taylor play-action pass, which didn't go anywhere, so he tried to roll out, got tackled within the 5, and ever since then they looked out of sync. McCoy kind of tweaked his groin a little bit, so he wasn't his usual self. I really thought McCoy was actually going to run all over the Jets, both just running the ball and screen pass wise. I knew Kelvin Benjamin wasn't going to play. I mean, if they've been winning without him all year, don't throw him in there 2 days after you get him and figure that out. You'll have a whole 10 days to learn that playbook and get on the same page with Tyrod Taylor. But Zay Jones looked good until he hyperextended his knee, came back, hyperextended his knee again. Jordan Matthews had a crucial fumble right before halftime, which led to Jets points. Matt Forte looked great. He was running the ball like he was 7 years younger.
Yeah.
And he looked good. He looked good. I mean, they try to roll out the three-headed monster between him, McGuire, and Powell. It was Forte who took off. McCown hit his guy. Had an interception that wasn't an interception. It was in the Buffalo defender's hands, and then he dropped it. It was like, here, have a present. And then, I'm going to drop it for you. And, McCown got lucky there. Probably could have changed the whole outlook of the game. But no pressure from the Bills. And, the Jets capitalized. McCown to Anderson and McCown to Curse was working all night. The Bills didn't have any answers.
No, they didn't. And, part of that, if you go through the course of a season, you watch enough football, quarterbacks that end up throwing a lot of interceptions, those interceptions get caught. Quarterbacks that end up throwing not a lot of interceptions, those interceptions get dropped. It really is just a matter of the defender making the play or not. And I've seen a lot. I mean, this year, Jared Goff should have probably 12 or 13 interceptions. Like, that's how many have been dropped or thrown into coverage that, the guy then didn't catch. It doesn't mean that Jared Goff's having a bad year. It's just the nature of the opponent maybe, or the situation, or the surprise because he's so good that you're like, whoa, he threw it right to me kind of thing. I don't know. But at any rate, however you want to look at it, 3 turnovers in that game, they all resulted in points. The JTES Jets are now 4-5, and the Bills are 5-3, I believe. And things are looking.
That's what we'd be saying about the Jets if they held on to that lead against that 17-point lead against Miami. Instead of 4-5 or 5-4. Would you start using the P word for them?
Let me throw you one better. No, but if they held on to their 14-point lead against the Patriots and they were 5-3, yeah, I think you'd start using the P word because they would have had a victory over everyone in the division, and they're well over 500, 2 games over 500. So yeah, I think you would have to. So, but it's the same reason people are using the P word with the Bills. I don't necessarily know if the Bills are done. I think that's really premature after one divisional game on a Thursday night. I do think the blueprint is out. But as long as the Bills don't turn the ball over, they can right the ship, no issue. So, we'll have to see what happens. Without further ado, I want to jump right into the Rams and Giants. We'll start with this one being LA Rams Central. We're going to spend a little bit of time on this. But, yeah. So, first and foremost, let me just start by saying that in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the last 7 meetings with the New York Giants, the Rams have lost all 7. 26-21 in 02, 23-13 in 03, 44-24 in 05, 41-13 in 08, 28-16 in 11, 37-27 in 14, and then last year's 17-10 deficit. Now, despite losing 7 straight to the Giants, in St. Louis they won 4 in a row. 97 they won 13-3, 99 they won 31-10, 2000 they won 38-24, and 01 they won 15-14. But take that 7-game stretch away, or just put that 7-game stretch in, I should say. The Rams' all-time record against the Giants between Cleveland, LA, and St. Louis is 26-17. The Rams own this series. When you lose 7 straight to somebody and you're still in no danger of losing the series lead, that says a lot. In Cleveland, the Rams were 2-2 against the New York Giants. In LA, they were 20-9, and that counts last year's loss. In St. Louis, they were 4-6. The Rams are going to win this game. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind. I think the Rams are going to beat them by 2 touchdowns. You know what? I'm going to go 31-10, Eric. I'm going to say the Rams win 31-10. I don't think it's I don't think it's that hard to put pressure on Eli Manning with that offensive line. The Rams have the best defensive line in football, period, especially with J.J. Watt and Houston out. They have one of the most underrated linebacking cores in Ogletree, Barron, and Littleton. I love this kid, John Johnson, at safety. LaMarcus Joyner is back for the Rams. Tremaine Johnson is quietly having a very good year. And Nickel Roby Coleman is one of the best nickel corners in football. The Giants don't have anybody to throw to. And even if they had their full arsenal of receivers, I think this was a grade A must-watch matchup with the Rams secondary and their wide receivers, because I think the Rams secondary has gotten much, much better. I don't know where the Giants get 10 points. I'm being nice. Offensively, the Rams are going against the worst passing defense in the NFC and one of the worst passing defenses in all of professional football. You've got Sammy Watkins, you've got Cooper Kupp, you've got Robert Woods. This is going to be – Jared Goff is going to throw for 300-plus yards in this game. He will not throw an interception. Oh, by the way, Janoris Jenkins is suspended for this game. And I think Todd Gurley's going to have over 200 yards of all-purpose yards. And watch for the special teams to continue to make plays, whether that's Hecker pinning them in deep or a big return or a big block. I'm not saying for a touchdown, maybe a block extra point or a block field goal. But the Rams are going to beat the Giants on all 3 facets of the game. And with the bye week and them working the long game, there's just too many advantages here for the Rams going against the Giants. And, what's another road game for this team that's already played like 3 or 4 road games in a row?
Well, it's very interesting that you say that, because the Rams haven't owned the series overall. They might, but the last 7 games, though, they haven't owned the Giants. Okay, I know where you're going with it. They're 9 games up overall. Completely different Giants team this year. Completely different Rams team this year. The Giants. A lot of those years up through, but it was it 03. They from 03 forward they've had Eli, or was it 05?
05.
They've had Eli, so that kind of gives them a little bit of an advantage. However, I agree with you. The Rams will win this game. I'm not going to go as high as a prediction as you. I'm going to go 24-13. Heavy dose of Gurley. I like Goff maybe coming out and establishing the pass early, but 300 yards, they don't need him to do that. 200, 250. Look for that around there. Look for whoever is not lined up on Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie to have a big game. So if Cromartie's on Woods, look for Watkins to have that big game. If it's the opposite, look for Woods to have that big game. But don't be surprised if you see Higbee with 8 catches, 75 to 100 yards, and a touchdown or 2. Just because the Giants don't have anyone to cover the middle of the field short against Higbee. Now, Danny Collins is going to be lurking all around. So look off the safety one way, play action pass, make Gurley run that ball, make Collins come in, and then when Collins thinks that it's going to be a run, throw it over the top. You got yourself a touchdown.
The best safety in professional football is Landon Collins. I have no qualms saying that.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're
very out for the year, and I think Weddle is past his prime. Landon Collins, even last year, he was a beast.
Oh yeah.
But I want to give those other 2 safeties their due because I think they are hard hitting, play the game the right way, can separate the ball from the receiver at any time. But yes, Collins is up there, upper echelon. Should be for quite some time. I do like Landon Collins. He can scare some quarterbacks. Depending on how raw they are. Goff, I don't think is raw anymore. So he is going to have a good time against that secondary tomorrow, and you're going to see Gurley. If they give him 20 more touches and he's over 100 yards, it's an easy Rams win.
Look, here's why I say this, Eric. First of all, let me just quantify one thing. Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor in Seattle are definitely round out the top 5 safeties in all of professional football. That's no slight on them. Yeah, that's no slight on either one of them. I just think that Landon Collins is a little bit better right now. But here's why I say that, Eric. You said Higbee's going to have 8 receptions, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. I don't disagree with that. Cooper Kupp is going to have 6 receptions for 112 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, you add those up right there, and that's almost 200 yards passing right there. Gurley's going to get his. Robert Woods is going to get his. And I just think when they suck up on the run because he's gashing them with the power gap run play that they like to do, I think that's probably their best running play, by the way, the power gap out of the I formation. They will also run it out of the single back formation and put the tight end in motion. So watch for that. He'll kick out the end. The tackle will double team the tackle to the linebacker, and Gurley just goes for days. When he comes up, that's going to be the deep ball. And I won't be surprised if Watkins has, close to 100 yards receiving as well. So it's not that I think that Jared Goff is going to have like 51 attempts for over 300 yards. Quite the opposite. I think he's going to end up with 25 to 30 pass attempts in this game. I think he's going to complete 20 to 26 of them. 25 to 35 attempts. I think he's going to complete 20 to 26 of them, and I think he's going to have over 300 yards passing just because I think the big play is going to be there. It's all going to depend on field position too. If the Rams are just destroying the Giants and they're playing on the inside of the 50-yard line on most of their plays, they could put up 45 and this game could be over by halftime. But I like where Goff's progression is going. I like the improvement that I'm seeing from him. He's starting to gain confidence, and I hate to say it, and I know we'll touch on it here in a little bit, but the injury to Deshaun Watson, that just makes the Rams season that much more amazing because a game that I didn't think they could win against a quarterback like that, they now get an Eli Manning type stationary, not very accurate, which is nothing like Eli Manning, quarterback in Houston in LA next week. So I think that advantage swings from Houston to LA. So they have a really good chance to solidify a playoff spot in these next 3 games. And I just think that they know they're going to need Goff to complete and get his game. And I told you in the last show, Goff is going to have a breakout second half. Goff and Watkins are the two Rams to watch, and this is a perfect opponent. They're down a corner. They're going to be so sold out to stop the run, and they've got so many other weapons on offense between Higbee and Kupp. I just don't know how you cover them all, and I think and don't forget Tavon Austin, which the way they're using him now, he's a running back, not a wide receiver. You get him out of the backfield with some blocking, and he theoretically, although we're yet to see it, could be one play away from a big play too. So I'm being generous when I say 31-10 because I don't know how the Giants score, and I really think the Rams could score more than 31, no problem.
Well, I think so too. But here's where I'm going to throw a little bit of a wrinkle in, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Rams off the bye week. Big, huge division win 2 weeks ago in London. Going back to the East Coast. And listen, it's a lot of travel no matter which way you look at it. That's great that they stayed in Jacksonville and left from there to go to London. It still catches up to you. I think you're going to see a very sloppy first quarter. I'm not saying turnover-wise, but drop balls, 3rd and 1, maybe not be able to get the first down on, not go for it on fourth and inches or whatnot. Maybe punting from your own 40 when, heck, I would just send Gurley straight up the middle or do a little dance and run around the outside or something. But I think you're going to see a little sloppiness, a little being timid as well. Not intimidated, but being timid. Now, I could be completely wrong. The Rams or Giants could come out like gangbusters and score 21 first quarter points.
Yeah.
It happens. But I just think with the layoff that, try not to get too ahead of yourself. That's why I think that, the Rams might not put up 31. Hey, if they put up 30, 31 points, they're basically scoring their average.
Yeah.
Okay? Which they should. Can the Giants keep up with them? No. The only way the Giants are going to be able to keep up with the Rams is if the Rams have 2, 3, 4 turnovers.
Yeah.
And the way they've been keeping the ball secure, I don't see that happening. But again, football's a crazy game. You think you know the game, and all of a sudden it changes on you.
No kidding.
That's why I want to throw a little wrinkle in there. Not saying that it's because that the Rams are going to lose because of this. No, I still think the Rams are a heck of a lot more talented than the Giants. The only place the Giants have a better, the only 2 places that the Giants have, in my opinion, and this is my opinion only, a better rated player is at safety with Landon Collins.
Yeah.
And Eli Manning, and I'm only giving it to Eli Manning over Jared Goff is because Eli has seen a lot in his time. He's not the quarterback he was, 3, 4, 5 years ago. But Eli can still take over a game if he needs to and lead them down the field. This year's been a little bit of a little different. The game is Denver. I don't know if that's an anomaly or not. But he still had a great game executing the plays. And I don't know if that's more to do with McAdoo not calling the plays and the offensive coordinator calling the plays. But if they get that kind of game again, it's going to be a tough game.
Yeah,
they are still sloppy home.
Yeah.
Like I said, the Rams have a lot more playmakers everywhere on the field, except for what I think Landon Collins and Eli.
And obviously,
Jared Goff can't outplay Eli because he absolutely can.
Well, but he's got 2 Super Bowls. You've got to get
New York is struggling to find their identity this year. And I think you're going to start seeing New York looking toward the future.
Well, look.
And if they get their butts kicked this game, I think you're going to see a lot more.
Look, Eli Manning's won 2 Super Bowls. I don't think anyone who's in their right mind is going to listen to you say that and go, Goff's way better than Eli. This year, sure. Overall, no. And yes, the advantage has to go to Eli. If the Giants' wide receivers were healthy, the Giants would have a tremendous advantage in that category as well, especially in Odell Beckham, because we don't have an Odell Beckham on our team. I like all of our guys. But don't sleep on Gerald Everett either. He's another guy in this game that could have a big day. For me, it's when you start looking at who has the potential for a big game, it becomes a daunting task for the New York Giants, which is why we both picked the Rams. One last thing on this game to validate something you just said. They talked to Todd Gurley, And they asked him if he was enjoying the bye week, and he said, yeah, but I really wish after winning 2 in a row we didn't have a bye week. I'd like to keep playing. So there's some validity to be said there with a break after being, starting to get hot, and now there's a pause, and now they got to pick it back up. So valid points all the way around. Eric, I'm going to let you...
Right. It either helps you or it hurts you, or it keeps you on the same path. Coming back, getting treated for, little nicks and bruises and whatnot. And I think to me, I think the bye week came at just the perfect time for the Rams.
Me too.
Because of the travel. They've been doing great, and a break right in the middle, especially right in the middle of the season, can be huge. You have your first half, you have your second half of the season, and I think you're going to see the Rams take off, solidify themselves, and make them the talk of the NFL. It's not going to be those same 16 anymore.
No. Now, Atlanta, Carolina, I want you to go ahead and take the lead on this one, E.
This game, it's a division game. It's in Carolina. Carolina, obviously, as you guys have listened to the previous show, they traded Kelvin Benjamin. If you're just waking up from a long coma or something like that, Carolina traded Kelvin Benjamin to the Buffalo Bills. But the Falcons haven't been the same team this year as they were the 7th highest scoring team of all time last year. They went to the Super Bowl, which they blew the lead. They've been blowing a lot of leads this year too. Carolina, down playmaker. I think McCaffrey has a good game, but Atlanta takes this game. They had a tough game last week against the Jets with the wind and the rain and fumbling the ball 3 or 5 times, but recovering. I know Matt Ryan had 2 fumbles, but I think they clean that up. And I think Atlanta takes this game by a touchdown or less. Yeah,
I think you're going to see Cam Newton pout because his number 1 target's gone, and he's going to be forced to go to McCaffrey more. And I think overall, when I look at this, I think Atlanta has an advantage on defense with Cole Beasley. I think all of the running that Cam Newton has done over the last 5 years or so is starting to catch up with him. I don't think he's as efficient of a runner as he used to be. I don't think he's able to take the pounding as he used to take. And I just think that this is a recipe for disaster. And New Orleans went into Carolina and lit him up. I don't see a problem with Atlanta going into Carolina and lighting him up. So, yeah, I agree. I'm picking Atlanta, too, and I'll go with a touchdown. I'd even say 6 points. If I'm a betting man, which I'm not, and the line is 6.5, I'd go with Atlanta. If it's 7.5, I'd go with Carolina. I mean, I think it's going to be that kind of a game, but ultimately Atlanta wins. No question, in my opinion. Indianapolis, and Houston. I'm going to pick the Texans in this one. I know there is no Deshaun Watson now, but I just haven't seen anything out of Indy to make me believe they can score enough against that defense. And there is still enough talent on offense that if Savage can get him the ball, I think they can win. I hate to be a jerk to Colt fans out there, but this might as well be a bye week for Houston with a scrimmage game as a practice, because I don't see how Indianapolis is going to measure up. And, Savage is going to get some key reps, some key experience. Not that he doesn't have it already with this system, and kind of get time to get acclimated before the schedule turns over. But I just don't see how Indy goes into Houston and wins. They're not Jacksonville. They're not Tennessee. And I know Savage isn't Watson either, but I just don't see where a win comes here for Indy. What about you?
2 things here. Did you know Tom Savage has yet to throw an NFL touchdown pass?
I did not.
Yeah, he has 0 career touchdown passes, which means Jacoby Brissett has more touchdown passes than Tom Savage, which I find interesting because Savage played a few games last year and he started week 1 this year. Now, of course, everybody knows, I'm going to touch on this, but Deshaun Watson tore his ACL in practice on Thursday. Devastating blow for a team that was looking to possibly making the playoffs. And I think they have a good enough team to where if that whole team, let's just and I'm going to knock on wood, let's just say that whole team stays healthy. That includes J.J. Watt and Merciless and Deshaun Watson next year. And I'm thinking if they upgrade from Lamar Miller, you know how scary that team can be?
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about it.
No.
It's that scary. Like, that team could take over the AFC in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
With Fuller and Hopkins, and then you got Watson throwing to those two guys. Man, that's scary. Anyways, back to this game. Frank Gore had a good game last week as far as running the ball, 82 yards. That was his best game of the season. Do I think he's going to find those open holes against Houston? Probably not. This game, to me, is going to be stack 8 clocks on each side and let your quarterback see which quarterback is better to win a game. To me, that's Indianapolis. If Tom Savage hasn't thrown a touchdown pass, it's hard for me to pick the Texans. But Indy's been that bad this year. Give me a huge dose of Lamar Miller. Savage finally throws his first touchdown pass. I'm not even going to say who it's to because it's probably going to be some guy you've never heard of before.
Yeah.
And Houston wins this one in a close game, but this is low scoring. This is like a 13-10, 13-7 game.
Wow. Okay. Interesting pick. Cincinnati at Jacksonville. I'll let you go first on this one, Eric.
Yeah, this is probably one of the more interesting games in the early portion of the TV schedule. Outside of the Rams and Giants, this game right here, Jacksonville #1 D, Cincinnati, a decent offense going up against the #1 pass defense. Jacksonville has had 10 sacks in 2 separate games this year. That is ridiculous. The Jaguars, if they can find some consistency with Bortles, this game won't be close. But I expect Dalton for the Bengals to force feed AJ Green, and when he's not force feeding AJ Green, you're going to see a huge game out of Tyler Kroft. He's going to roam that middle with nobody around him. Jacksonville's that bad against opposing tight ends. On the other side of the ball, having Joseph Fournette coming off that ankle injury that he had that he's sustained against the Rams. But I think that he's going to be just fine because he had a bye week in there. I say Jacksonville at home.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jacksonville at home too, Eric. I just think that for Cincinnati, when they've played against good defenses, they didn't score at all. And I know that they changed coordinators, and I know there was some turnover there in New York, in Cincinnati, but this is not Andy Dalton's good year. He's having a down year. The Bengals are a perennial playoff team, and it doesn't look like they're going to be one this year. I think you're going to see some changes. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. But I do think that, I do think Jacksonville is going to get 5 or 6 sacks in this game. I think they're going to have a pick, maybe even a pick 6. They'll have more than a pick. They'll probably end up with 2. I think they're going to shut down the run, and I could see Jacksonville winning this game, 27-7. Like, I don't see it being close. And I kind of don't mind the Bengals, but I just don't see, with what they did in the beginning of the year against good defenses, now they're playing up against another good defense. I know they beat Buffalo, but that was at home, and Jacksonville is a different animal.
Yeah, Jacksonville also needs this game to stay in the playoff hunt race.
Yeah. Plus, it's an odd week, so there is that.
Right, it's an odd week.
Tampa Bay.
Listen, if Jacksonville wins this game, okay, and the Titans who play Baltimore, if they lose, Jacksonville's first place by themselves.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy to think about, right? I'll let you do this one because I'm going to do the next one. Tampa Bay at New Orleans.
All right, yeah, Tampa Bay at New Orleans. Tampa Bay scores, Tampa Bay. New Orleans scores more than 20 points than they put up against the Bears the previous week. Tampa Bay's defense is suspect. No Brent Grimes patrolling the corner for Tampa. So you're going to see a lot of Drew Brees. He'll be over 300 yards. He'll have multiple touchdown passes. There is no way he goes 2 games in a row where he doesn't throw a touchdown pass.
Yeah.
Okay? lights up Tampa Bay, but of course, New Orleans is still trying to establish that run. So expect also Ingram and Kamara to have good days. So I like New Orleans blowout city. I don't think Tampa Bay has what it takes to keep up with the Saints. Winston's shoulder isn't 100%. He's got that sprained AC joint. He'll hit great. He'll hit Mike Evans. He might even get Deshaun Watson, not hard Deshaun Watson. He might even get Deshaun Jackson on a long pass, like a 60-something yard pass for a touchdown. But it's going to be too much Saints all day in the dome.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to pick New Orleans. I do think that Cameron Brate and O.J. Howard are going to have a decent day at receiving at tight end because the Saints don't do well against tight ends. Right now, they're middle of their defense to cover that middle part of the seam routes and the in routes with the linebackers has been suspect, to say the very least. So I think that's where they're going to get a lot of the majority of their passing yards is between those two tight ends. I do think Tampa Bay will score, but they're not going to score enough. The New Orleans Saints should roll in this game by 2 touchdowns or more, but it is a division game, and you never know. But I do think it's a pretty safe bet to say the Saints beat the Bucs. I haven't picked Tampa Bay much this year at all. I just like the New Orleans offense right now against the Buccaneer defense, and I said all along that this team was overrated. Didn't have enough talent at key positions, specifically on the defense side of the ball, and I think that's going to get exposed, and that's why I'm going to go with New Orleans. Denver at Philly. This game is going to be the closest game of the afternoon. I think Denver's defense is going to hound Philadelphia's offense and keep them in the game. In the end, I do think Brock Osweiler is going to help turn the Denver Broncos season around. I know you're rolling your eyes right now, Eric, but this isn't the week that's going to happen. He's going to have overthrows. He's going to have interceptions, and people are going to go, see, it's the same old Brock Osweiler. But I do think he'll lead them on a couple of touchdown drives, and I could see this game being a 27-17, 27-13 kind of game for Philadelphia. Denver will be in it because of their defense. But mark my words, if there's a defensive touchdown in this game, the complete momentum of the game shifts and goes the other way. Denver can stop the pass, and the Eagles can't run the ball. Ajayi is, of course, the free, the trade that they picked up. He'll be ready to run because as a running back, I could tell you guys there's not much to know with the playbook. The best part of being a running back is you don't have to know the playbook early on. You look at the quarterback and go, what are we doing? You're running behind the right guard and the right tackle. Got it. And that's your target point, and then you run. You don't have to know the play. You're running a swing pass on this play. Just go. So he'll be effective, and I think he'll be effective enough to really keep the Broncos defense off balance for a bit, enough for Denver to win this game, or for Philadelphia to win this game. I'm going to pick Philly to win, but I think it's going to be close. I said 27-13, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was 27-24, if it was, 17-14. I think Denver's defense is that good, and I think that Denver's got to get something out of the running game because if Brock drops back to throw 40 times, they may get shut out. But if they can establish some kind of a running game and some kind of intermediate passing attack, which is they're more than capable of doing with that defense, I think it's going to be a close game. And mark my words, if Denver gets a defensive touchdown, they win the game. But I'm picking Philly to win this one by 7 to 8 points. It's going to be a one-score game.
I like it's going to be a close game. I agree. But it's for a different perspective. And that is, Philadelphia's offensive line is not the greatest. You're going to see a lot of pressure from Von Miller and probably others as well on Carson Wentz. But Carson is really good in the pocket, feeling the pressure, and taking off and running with the ball. Now, I don't know if you're going to find how much room that is against the Denver defense. You can throw on Denver's defense. I think what Wentz really needs to do is stay away from Aqib Talib.
Yeah.
So whoever he's matched up on is going to have a long day. And I expect Talib to be matched up on Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah.
To start, at least. Now, you mentioned a defensive touchdown. Yes, there will be a defensive touchdown, and yes, it will be a pick six. It'll be Brock throwing to the Eagles defense because know he's good for an interception or two or three. Denver can stay in this game, but I don't think they can win. I know Brock knows the offense, or knows the players in the offense, because he threw to Demaryius Thomas, and he threw to Emmanuel Sanders, who'll finally be back after a 2-game absence. But it's a new head coach with Vance Joseph, and a new offensive coordinator with Mike McCoy. I know it takes a little bit to get used to, and you can run it until it's great practice, but in a game it's completely different. I think Brock's in for a long day. I think the Eagles win this game. Do I think it's going to be close? 24-14, 23-13, maybe even more than 23 points, 24 points for Philadelphia, but I see Philly in this, especially at home. If this was in Denver, I would definitely give Denver a closer edge, but I like Philly in this game.
All right. Baltimore at Tennessee. Take it away.
Well, Tennessee is coming off the bye week. Mariota has had the bye week to rest his hamstring, and he is going to need it in this game. Matched up against the Baltimore defense, who is coming off a 40-0 shutout on Thursday, 10 days ago, against the Dolphins. The Suns wreaked havoc in that game. He was all over the field. They had two pick sixes. They had more turnovers in that game. They pressured Matt Moore as much as they could. And if Mariota is the least bit non-mobile as he can be, as he's shown the last two games prior to this, Baltimore's going to feast on Mariota. That being said, Joe Flacco is coming off his concussion, so he's had 10 days to recover. But Tennessee at home, I see a lot of DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry to take the pressure off of Mariota. Mariota will not have Delaney Walker in this game as of the last report that I heard. So it's Rashard Matthews, Corey Davis is finally back. This game is going to be close. I think you're going to see this game come down to a missed Justin Tucker field goal, and that's rare, folks. That is very rare. And the Titans win by 3 or less.
Yeah, I will tell you right now, if you're a Ravens fan and you're listening to the show, they have our respect. They have our attention. They're playing better than I expected. And I think Baltimore, this is what makes them so scary if they do end up struggling down the stretch and end up with high draft picks, because they're such a talented football team. And they just seem to retool on defense, not replace. And I know if you're a Ravens fan, you're thinking, well, the last time the Titans beat the Ravens was in 2011, and we've won 2 of the last 3 games. But I will remind you, the last time the Ravens lost to the Titans, it was in Tennessee. This game is in Tennessee. And with Mariota being back and having some time to recover, I do think it's going to be the DeMarco Murray show, but I also think it's going to be the Travis Henry show. Is it Travis Henry? Am I mixing that name up? It's not Travis Henry. I just went back to the 90s, didn't I? What's the other running back in Tennessee called? Eric? Hello?
What's that?
What's the other running back in Baltimore? In Tennessee?
Oh, yeah. They have Alex Collins. They have Javorius Allen. They
No.
have Terrence West.
Tennessee. It's DeMarco Murray and who?
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. I said Travis Henry. I went back to the 90s. Okay. Derrick Henry.
Going back to Buffalo days.
No kidding, right? I do think that Derrick Henry and DeMarco Murray combined are going to have well over 200 yards rushing, and that's saying a lot considering Baltimore's run defense. But I think Mariota's threat to throw and his play action is going to loosen that defense up, and I just see Tennessee winning this game. I think it'll be close as well. I'm thinking 26-20, maybe 27-20 kind of game, but ultimately I think it's going to be a little bit more than what Eric thinks, but I still think it's going to be a one-score game, and I could very easily see Tennessee blowing it in the end. But in the end, I do think that they're a better football team. They're at home. They're running the ball. They're not the Miami Dolphins. And the last time they played Baltimore at home, they beat them 26-13. So look for a 26-20, 27-20 kind of game. I'm going to go with Tennessee as well. My upset pick of the week is next. And I'll take this one, E. The San Francisco 49ers are home against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the Arizona Cardinals have won, I believe, the last 4 in a row against San Francisco. They have Drew Stanton at quarterback. They have a great running back in Adrian Peterson. But did you know, not once in Bruce Arians' career has he ran the ball 33 times or more in a game? Did you know that as a coordinator?
I did not know that much.
Mm-hmm. Now, they're going against the number one run, the worst run defense in the National Football League. They have a backup quarterback. All the signs point to Arizona running the ball. If they do, the 49ers lose and lose big. But they're not. They're going to throw with Stanton 25 to 35 times in this game. He's going to get picked at least twice. It's going to put Arizona in bad field position. And I think the 49ers offense is at least good enough to get a couple of big plays. They've been in pretty much every game. They lost in overtime the last time they played, and that was in Arizona, where you usually give the home team a 3-point advantage, and they won by 3 points. So I'm going to give the 3-point advantage to San Francisco. I say the 49ers pull the upset, and here's where they pull the upset. Pierre Garçon on the deep pass. I think they're going to hit Travis Henry, not Travis Henry, the back out of the backfield they like to throw to. And I get Travis Henry. Why is he on my mind? And I think Hyde is going to find some running lanes to run in. And I think you're going to see a 49er upset. I always have one upset pick of the week. And this week, my upset pick is the Cardinals losing to the San Francisco 49ers in a close game in Santa Monica. I know it sounds crazy, but Beathard is a much better quarterback than Hoyer. Garoppolo isn't in yet. He's had some reps. He's had some time. I think the 49ers offensive line is as bad as it is. It's capable of opening up lanes to stop the run. Look, they put 39 on the Rams. They put 24 on the Redskins. They could easily put, 20, 24 points on the Cardinals. Let's face it, the Cardinals defense isn't what it used to be. And they, more than anyone on their team, you want to know what the absence of Campbell is doing to the Cardinals. Take a look at what he's doing for Jacksonville. So I think there's going to be opportunity to run there. And I'm going to go with San Francisco in a close one, but an upset. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 21-18, 24-21 kind of game. Eric, take it away.
Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but Pierre Garçon is injured reserve after he left last week in the second quarter with a neck injury.
Oh, well, that sucks.
I bet that sucks.
I didn't even know that.
For him that he's not playing.
Yeah.
But this is poop quarterback versus poop quarterback. I don't. Stanton has never done anything at the NFL level to make me go wow. And if I had to put money on which quarterback's going to have a better day, I would put it on Bernard, but I'm not betting that. In that case, this is probably San Francisco's one of 2 games left in the schedule for them to get a win. And I'm saying one of 2 because this game, and I'll give them a shot against the Bears in Chicago in a few weeks. However, I don't think it'll happen. My opinion. And I hate losing to the 49ers myself. Just like you do, I'm sure.
You think?
I give the running back edge to Peterson, and I give the wide receiver edge to the Cardinals, and I give the defensive edge to the Cardinals. So I'm going to go Arizona in this game, and I still feel dirty taking them. I mean, I don't know how anybody in the Bay Area or Arizona, the state of Arizona, is going to be able to watch this game and actually stomach their lunch or breakfast, depending on what time you eat.
Yeah.
If Palmer was in this game, I would say Arizona in a blowout.
No question.
I know how he is on the road. But Palmer Oklahoma's not playing. We can't play the EFT. So I'm calling the Cardinals again. Sloppy game, lots of turnovers. Don't be surprised though if Garoppolo is the number 2 quarterback in this game. I don't have it said yet, if he's going to dress or not. But don't be surprised if Beathard is so inconsistent that Garoppolo comes in and just hands the ball off the first 5, 6, 7 plays.
Well, to be fair, he hasn't been that bad, and I do think
his last game he was the game that he started. That he led the game against, I believe it was the Redskins, where he had them marching down the field. He did play well. But, of course, he lost the weapon. He doesn't have Garcon for this game, which is going to be a big blow because he was their most targeted wide receiver.
Yeah.
As is any number 1 wide receiver in a Kyle Shanahan offense. Remember that for next year when you're doing fantasy. Because they may be better.
Yeah.
But who are they going to throw to now?
I don't know. For me,
That's not really rhetorical either.
No. Here's the thing, though, Eric. The Cardinals can't protect the quarterback. Stanton is also a stationary, immobile quarterback who likes to throw to the other team. And I know that the 49ers run defense is the worst in the league. For me, it's an ego thing. I meant what I said. If the 49ers experience 30-plus handoff attempts for Adrian Peterson or more, it's over. The Niners are going to lose. I just don't believe that Bruce Arians has it in him. And if he's going to put the ball in the hands of Drew Stanton to win the game, I'm picking the Niners. Even though they don't have anyone to throw to. They'll find somebody. So I'm going to pick San Francisco. I'm sticking with the pick, realizing that it's probably not going to happen, but I'm banking on Arians being stubborn. Washington at Seattle. I would love to pick the Redskins with them being my second favorite team and all, but I don't know how the mash unit known as the Redskins defense can go into Seattle and stop Russell Wilson, because I know they're not going to be able to keep up with Russell Wilson like Houston was able to do. I think Kirk Cousins is going to throw 2 interceptions in this game. I think he's going to have a fumble or 2. I think the running game is going to go nowhere. And I could see this thing being 34-10 Seattle. I don't even see it being close. And I don't know where they're going to get pressure on Russell Wilson. Even if they do, they're not good enough to stop him from running around and making a ridiculous throw. So, unfortunately, we will still be in second place after all is said and done, because I think that Seattle's going to beat Washington and beat them rather handily in the Great Northwest. There's not much to say about this game.
What's that?
There's not much to say about this game.
There isn't. And Washington is going to have a hard time moving the ball up and down the field.
Yeah.
Okay? Jordan Reed is out. So, their starting tight end now is Vernon Davis. Terrell Pryor has been pretty much non-existent the last 3 games. Jamison Crowder had a tremendous game for the Redskins last week. He had 123 yards receiving. Guess what? He's most likely not playing this week because of a hamstring injury. So that leaves Pryor, Josh Buxton, and Vernon Davis as your 3 primary pass catchers. So expect a heavy dose of Chris Thompson in the pass game, especially out of the backfield. I wouldn't be surprised if they line him up out wide or in the slot at all.
No.
But here's what Washington needs to do to keep this game even remotely close. They need to win a coin toss, get the ball first, march down the field, punch the Seahawks in the face, and score. Can they do it? I like Cousins as a quarterback. He has potential to be really good in this league. His receivers are letting him down. His tight end is letting him down. It's only so much their fault because they're injured. Okay? Jordan Reed, however, seems to get injured on every single play in every single game.
Yeah.
Okay? But he needs his guys to go up, fight for that ball, come down with it, win the 50-50 ball, and get in the end zone. They can't settle for field goals. Not against Seattle and Seattle. Seattle with the trade of Dwayne Brown, you might even see a rejuvenated running game from them.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of.
is actually going to get protection and time. So now he'll be able to hit Jimmy Graham down the middle, Doug Baldwin, your favorite wide receiver, and Paul Richardson. I'm kidding about Doug Baldwin.
I know you are.
So I expect a lot of points by Seattle, and you might see some garbage points by Washington in the fourth quarter, but I don't think it's going to be at all close, except for when the game starts at 0-0.
I'm going to make a prediction on the score. Seattle doubles them up 34-17.
I like the 34, but I think it's going to be more like 34-13, 34-10.
Okay, my original prediction. Okay, I say they double them up. I think you're right. They score a touchdown in garbage time when it doesn't really matter. And then I could call you back and be like, haha, I told you it was 34-17. You're like, yeah, but it was 34-10 until like 3 seconds ago in the game. Like, doesn't matter. Anyway, I digress. Kansas City at Dallas, take it away.
All right. Well, the news earlier in the week was that Ezekiel Elliott was suspended. So that would have meant Alfred Morris was going to get the start with Rod Smith and Darren McFadden also getting some playing time. Well, on Friday, Ezekiel Elliott was granted another injunction, which means he's suiting up for the game against the Chiefs. So he wasn't able to practice Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, but he's able to practice Friday. And if they practice on Saturday, he'll be able to practice that. Huge for Dallas. Absolutely huge for them. Because Ezekiel Elliott, the last 3-4 weeks, has been almost impossible to stop. I like Dallas in this game to control the tempo of the clock, to run Ezekiel as much as they can, because come next Tuesday, Elliott's going to be suspended again and most likely going to be held out. But we've heard that story before, so there's going to be only so much that they can take. Is he or isn't he suspended? But Bryant with his side is going to be able to get open on the Kansas City secondary, and Witten and Williams are going to be there also. And Beasley's finally back from a concussion. On the flip side of the ball, well, I'm going to stick on the Dallas offensive side. What Dak needs to do after he hands off is, if they call a pass, roll out. The roll out to the opposite side of Justin Houston. Because if he stays in that pocket, Houston's able to get just a step. Kansas City's defense could eat Dallas alive. I do like Kareem Hunt in this game, but I think Dallas has too much at home, and they beat the Chiefs by about 7 to 10 points.
Chiefs 33, Cowboys 20.
Interesting.
Now, I think Kareem Hunt is going to run for days. Alex Smith is no longer the dink and doink Alex Smith. Kelsey is better than Jordan Reed. Sorry, but he is right now. And Dallas can't cover.
Best tight end in the league right now.
And Dallas can't cover Jordan Reed. So how are they going to cover Kelsey? You've got Tyreek Hill, which has speed to burn and something Dallas has never seen, that's going to hit them on the outside on those running plays. I think Alex Smith is going to be effective with the deep ball. I think that Kansas City is going to shut down Ezekiel Elliott. And I think that you're going to hear all of the Dallas people go, oh, it's because the Cowboys weren't prepared to have a game plan with Ezekiel Elliott. I'm going to tell you all the reasons why this is stupid. When you're a coach, you have a game plan with Ezekiel Elliott. By now, they know that game plan with Ezekiel Elliott. They know what the running plays are. They know what their strengths are. They know what holes they like to run through. And they practice what they did this week in preparation for in case Ezekiel Elliott plays, is they had Alfred Morris run 15 to 20 plays that were Ezekiel Elliott's plays against the Chiefs defense, knowing that Alfred Morris is not Ezekiel Elliott. Then they had another set of 15 plays with Alfred Morris and ran that against the Chiefs defense that was probably a different defense or offense, and probably less guys in the box, be thinking Kansas City's going to play differently if it's Alfred Morris, suppose if it's Ezekiel Elliott. So Dallas is ready game plan-wise for Ezekiel Elliott or without Ezekiel Elliott. And I can't stand these a-holes that call themselves experts that like to get in front of a camera and listen to their own voice And it really kills me when they're former athletes. And they look at the camera and they just lie to the American people as if they're too stupid to understand the basics. And then you've got people like me that's a coach who's lived this life, who's been down this road, who had a kid hyperextended knee and he didn't know if he was going to play. You had another kid in concussion protocol and didn't find out until Thursday that he could play. And you had a game on Friday night. And of course you play him because he's your best player. Like, you do these things all the time anyway. And I just think it's funny that these guys pretend like this is a big deal. And they said, Dallas is they're running out of time. No, they're not. They've got another 2 weeks they can play this game, and then Ezekiel Elliott gets suspended and they lose him. Now, if Dallas' concern is they don't want to lose Ezekiel Elliott for the stretch run or the postseason, then they've got one more week to figure this out. Well, not even. Now it's too late. But I heard they want him for the stretch run and the postseason, and they're worried they're going to lose him. Well, let me tell you when the stretch run is in football. The day after Thanksgiving is the stretch run. Okay? That's week 14. In preparation for week 14. 14, 15, 16, 17, that's 4 games. Wild card, divisional playoff game. That's your 6-game suspension. Ezekiel Elliott and the Dallas Cowboys have until week 13 to figure this out. So they still have more time. And it would be wise of them to maybe just sit there and either eat it and let the injunction or the suspension take place, or they're going to fight this thing and they may win it or they may lose it. But Dallas wasn't going anywhere in the postseason this year anyway. There's something off on Dallas. And we're going to see it again this week when they drop to 4-4 because they play a team that isn't the San Francisco 49ers. Because they play a team that isn't the, they had a bye week last week, right? The Washington Redskins. A beat-up Washington Redskins team. So this is the first time really in a while that they're playing an opponent who's capable of not only smacking them in the mouth, but manning up and bucking up against that offensive line and not creating holes. They've got a vaunted pass rusher in Houston. I know they're missing Barry, their safety, but those corners are legit. And they got burned against Oakland. And they made a statement against Denver, and they're going to make an even louder statement against Dallas. I don't think Dallas is very strong this year, but I don't think Dallas is going to miss the playoffs either. But I don't think Dallas was a threat once they made the postseason to go anywhere beyond the wild card round. So I know this is a game that Dallas could win, but it's not a game Dallas is going to win. With or without Ezekiel Elliott, they had problems because this defense can stop the run, and this offense can hit you with the run, or they can throw deep. And it kills me when they look at the camera and they say how much of an impact this could have on the Dallas Cowboys game plan with Ezekiel Elliott not being there all week. And I'm glad you said what you did, Eric, because you're being honest to the American public out there in this show, and you're bringing a voice of reason and sensibility to the show when you say Dallas isn't going to miss a beat. It helps them that Ezekiel Elliott's back. Because I'm hearing people make excuses as if they know Kansas City's going to win the game and they want to protect their precious little Dallas Cowgirls.
Yeah, I mean, eventually this is going to, just completely be repetitive. I've heard that, he's going to play this year and then, he'll serve a suspension next year. But I don't buy it. If they don't settle this soon, and if they do make the playoffs and he's out of the playoffs, they're always going to wonder.
Well, they can wonder all they want, but I wouldn't have picked him with or without him.
Really quick on this game, a little history lesson. Kansas City's going back to its roots.
Yeah. The old Dallas Texans. Right?
I just thought I would throw that out there. I just find that fascinating that that's where the Chiefs originally started from. Hence why the Texans took that name, because they wanted to keep the roots of that name in Texas. So it just makes sense.
Oh, it does.
They didn't keep it. Didn't the Dallas Texans wear the same colors or have the same colors, like some sort of red, white, blue?
No. The Dallas Texans were the Kansas City Chiefs.
Or were they red?
They were the exact same colors as the Kansas City Chiefs. The only thing the Chiefs did is they changed the logo on the helmet from the state of Texas with a star in Dallas to the KC with the arrowhead. You know what's fascinating about that is Kansas City wasn't forced, but they were Hunt was paid a lot of money to move the franchise from Houston to Kansas City, not only by the Dallas Cowboys in the NFL, but by several owners in the AFL because they wanted to get them out of Dallas because they didn't think they could compete with Dallas. Just because it was the NFL and the NFL had more money. So it's kind of an interesting little fun fact there. But yeah, I'm going to pick KC 33-20. I'm going to take this one. Oakland at Miami. Marshawn Lynch is back. Miami looked terrible against Baltimore. I know the Raiders don't have the Baltimore's defense, but the Dolphins don't have a quarterback. And Khalil Mack, look for him to have a big game. Marshawn Lynch will have his first 100-yard rushing performance. And I think Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree will probably have 75 yards receiving and a touchdown each. I think Derek Carr will be efficient with the ball. And I look for the Oakland Raiders to go into Miami and shut the Dolphins up, down, and not out. They're not going to shut them out. But I think this is going to be an easy win for Oakland. And I think it's going to kind of give them a chance to kind of regather their thoughts as they head into the bye week.
All right, well, for this Sunday night game, Jay Cutler's back. And they have no run game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big help.
Yeah. Not much to say.
I got nothing else on this game. I mean, Carr's going to light up Miami. If they really think that Kenyon Drake and Damian Williams are going to be the answer at running back in this week's game, you know, I know that Oakland's defense is not the greatest right now in the NFL. And if they are able to run and find holes, I'll actually be kind of surprised.
Yeah.
But yeah, Carr, I don't think Marshawn Lynch being back is going to have that much of an impact or be that big of a difference. I think that Oakland knows that, you know, in order to keep Lynch healthy and in the game for later on when they want to pound the ball, possibly and win, that they also have to use Jalen Richard and DeAndre Washington.
Yeah. All right.
And they need to use all three guys because they each bring a different perspective of the running back position with them. Marshawn Lynch is ground and pound. Richard can catch balls out of the backfield, and then Washington can clean it up, and he can either take the handoff or he can, you know, catch it as well. And Richard and Washington both had good games last week when Lynch was out. They both fumbled. So, and Lynch isn't going to be that running back that fumbles for you. So if you need that extra yard, they'll probably get it for you.
Agreed.
But I just think that Oakland's offense is going to be too much for Miami. And if you're really counting on Jay Cutler to bring Miami back, they should have Devontae Parker back, so that should help. But they need to find some sort of run game, and I don't think they have it this week.
Yeah, I don't either. Interesting fact, Miami's won 3 in a row against the Raiders, so we'll see if that continues. Detroit at Green Bay. Eric, take it away, and then I'll wrap it up.
All right.
Need a score.
Matt Stafford, all-time in Green Bay is 3-10, and that includes the playoffs. But there's no Aaron Rodgers in this game, so I'm taking the Lions. I think the Lions clamps down on Brett Hundley. Brett Hundley throws for more than 100 yards. I'll be impressed because he had 87 2 weeks ago before they went on their bye. The guy that they really need to account for is Aaron Jones, the Green Bay running back, who's basically come on after Montgomery got injured and Jonathan Williams got injured. He's been their lone bright spot. Expect a lot of 1-2 catches by Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams. Adams may actually have a better game because Darius Slay is out for this game. So they might try to say, hey, let's solidify Devontae Adams in this game. But again, Brett Hundley was off bad 2 weeks ago against the Vikings. I just think that the Lions have a little bit too much offense, and if by any chance the Lions are not leading in this game in the fourth quarter, that they come back, unlike they were able to against Pittsburgh. I think Detroit smelled blood in the water, and they're eager to get back on the field after a bad loss last week. And I think they take it to Green Bay.
Give me a score.
Score for this game, I'm going to go 27-13.
Wow, we're not that far off. I'm going to actually give each team an extra touchdown. I got 34-20 Detroit. I think the Packers will find holes in that Lions defense. They're not that great. But Matthew Stafford or Hundley, there's no question Matthew Stafford's going to have the better day. And if he has the better day, he's going to have the win. He doesn't have to worry about a ridiculous comeback or a one-man wrecking crew in Aaron Rodgers. He could take a deep breath. He might be more – here's what you're going to find in this game. I really believe this. You're going to find a calm Matthew Stafford, a guy who doesn't feel like he's going up against his own defense this week, a guy that on 3rd and 3, if it's not there, he may throw it away so they punt the ball and try again the next series, as opposed to trying to make a play, forcing it in there, and pressing against himself because here comes Aaron Rodgers on the field, who's a one-play guy that can make it another touchdown and they're ahead again, or that the lead is too big for Aaron Rodgers to come back from. That pressure is gone. And I think you're going to see Matthew Stafford have his best game in the last 2 years. Stat-wise, maybe not. Completion percentage and QBR-wise, absolutely. You're going to see a calm, cool, and much more collective Matthew Stafford. I'm going to go with the Lions in this one, 34-20. So that wraps up our predictions, Eric. I wanted to go into coaches on the hot seat.
Yeah, coaches on the hot seat. We're halfway through the season. We're basically just starting week 9. And this is a time where, some coaches are starting to feel heat. And I'm going to run through some head coaches on you, Anthony, and I want you to give me just a quick yes or no. But if you want to, a brief synopsis, go ahead. But I got a few teams here. We'll run through, and we'll see if Black Monday is not good for these guys because a lot of head coach firings have started happening before the end of the season now. So we're going to run through a few teams and just give me your quick yes or no on here. Adam Gase of the Miami Dolphins.
No.
Okay. John Harbaugh of the Ravens.
Yes.
Marvin Lewis.
Yes.
Hugh Jackson.
Unfortunately, no.
Okay. Chuck Pagano.
Yes.
I want to really do something quick here on the Colts. Pagano was close to getting fired last year. A lot of people thought he should have been. The GM for the Colts, they brought him in this year. Former Chiefs GM Chris Allen. Okay? There's a name that has swept through the NFL ever since 2006 when there was a kick returner out of the University of Miami with the Bears, and their special teams coordinator at that time was Dave Toub, and he's in Kansas City. I've heard a lot of rumblings of him going to Indianapolis, so keep an eye out on that one because he deserves a head coaching job sooner rather than later.
Interesting.
Let's see here. Jack Del Rio.
No.
Ben McAdoo.
God, yes. And honestly, I think what hurts McAdoo the most is they didn't win a game until he replaced himself as the O coordinator. They're not going to win this week. They look like they don't have a snowball's chance in Hades of winning quite a few games here. And think about this. We're going to go back and look at the Giants at 2-14 and go, we don't know how they beat Denver or Team X that they end up beating, whoever gets them their second win. I don't know how you keep him. He's a laughingstock. People make fun of him in New York already. And you replaced a playoff team with more money, better players, and a much worse record. So, yeah, he's gone.
Okay. Jay Gruden.
No. I think let me explain why on that real quick. I think the injuries in Washington have been so numerous and so debilitating. When they were healthy, they were 3-1 and were a darn impressive 3-1 football team. And then the bottom fell out. Who is going to get fired in Washington is their strength and conditioning coach. That's who's going to get fired. Next.
John Fox.
No.
Dirk Cutter.
Yes.
Bruce Arians.
No. No, he'll be back.
Okay.
The Cardinals organization.
I was going to ask you about Kyle Shanahan because it's his first year in there, even though they're 0-8. But
No. Well,
I've seen weird things.
Well, let me.
Head coach getting fired, most notably a 14-2 Marty Schottenheimer with the Chargers got canned after a playoff game, and I'm sure there were other reasons behind it. But
Well,
1 year typically you're pretty much safe.
I'm going to give you two reasons why the Cardinals keep Bruce Arians, or one reason, and one reason why the 49ers aren't going to fire Kyle Shanahan. Bruce Arians plays for a very loyal organization. Other than the Rams and the Saints, I don't know of another organization in football that keeps their head coaches longer, even despite the struggling seasons, provided they showed improvement at some point in their time there. Arians is fine. Kyle Shanahan is in the best situation. He's got a GM who I believe is very smart. He's got an ownership that is gun shy from getting involved right now. They know this is going to take time to develop. And with the addition of Garoppolo, they didn't get Garoppolo in Shanahan's possession to then get rid of Kyle Shanahan and then rent Garoppolo and get rid of him. I'm telling you, the decision to bring Garoppolo in was heavily influenced by Kyle Shanahan, and that's going to be a marriage for Ram fans made in hell for a long time, because Goff and McVay are going to constantly have nipping at their heels Shanahan and Garoppolo. I do think Goff and McVay are going to be better off, and they'll have the better career together, but the Niners are going to have a lot of success under that relationship. You didn't mention a name. So here's somebody else that I think is going to get fired at the end of the year, regardless of whether they make the playoffs or not. Jim Caldwell. And who's going to replace him? Harbaugh. Don't worry, not Jim, John. And you're going to have John Harbaugh and Jim Harbaugh in the same state, living together, which will be ideal for both parties involved. And you get a fresh face in there to work with your multi-million-dollar quarterback who's capable of bringing defense to the equation. Now, let me tell you, imagine Matthew Stafford with the Ravens defense.
That's pretty sick.
It's sick indeed. Watch it. I'm telling you, that is a butt that I would be putting on the hot seat only because I think the Ravens are on the hot seat. It's mild right now, but I do think it will heat up by the end of the year, and I think you're going to see him end up going to Detroit. Is that it?
That's it for the coaches.
All right. And then that's a wrap for the show. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Eric. And you know what I want to do really quick? I want to give a shout out to one of our faraway listeners,
Yes.
Harry Reeves, who listens from across the pond.
Yep.
Got to go see a Rams game when they were there against the Cardinals. Hey, bro, I just want to say thanks for listening.
Absolutely. It was so neat to get that response, and somebody else called us the voice of the voiceless. I don't have it up on me right now. I'll make sure I get that guy's, I think it was MM Forever, actually.
Yeah, and then for forever. Shout out to you too. Appreciate you commenting and giving us feedback. Like Anthony said from the beginning, we try to keep it as real as we can. We don't like to get into the stuff that some people really tune into sports that don't want to hear.
Yeah.
we could talk to her blue in the face about the national anthem or what Bob McNair, the owner of the Texans, said, but we don't because we want to keep this
on football.
civilized for you guys.
On
and
football.
We like what we do. We appreciate you guys listening, and we hope to continue that you guys listen.
Absolutely. I just want to reiterate, you guys are the reason I keep doing this. This was something that I was planning on really only doing for the first year the Rams were back in LA, just to kind of get out there and be like, go Rams. I'm showing my support for the LA Rams. You guys do the same. But this has really snowballed into a second job that me and Eric don't get paid for, and we don't mind. And it's something that we really enjoy doing, and it's because of the feedback that we get from you guys and the fans, and whether it's LT from Combat Sports LA or MM or from across the pond, as Eric explained, and so many more. I'm going to get a list of people that followers that I want to thank who have made comments over the last 2 years that have really made this show for me even better to do. So, get more people to listen. If you talk to somebody and they're fed up with the crap that they're seeing on TV from the NFL Network or ESPN or whatever, tell them about us. Have them listen. See what they think of us, because we do want to be that voice for the everyday fan that's out there that thinks the same way we do. So thank you so much for all you do. Keep listening. Find more. Get more to subscribe. Comment. And thanks again. And I guess there's only one thing left to say, and that's Go Rams!